Hey there, welcome back to the Haunt Line, the show dedicated to SoCal haunts and events. So for today's video, I'm going to be looking ahead into the future at Haunt 2020, and I'm going to list off the things that we have to look forward to this coming haunt season. So I want to start off by talking about Knott's Scary Farm. It's easily my favorite haunt. I love going there. I've been a pass holder for a couple of seasons now, and I just love going back. It's such a fun event. It's local, and I think, honestly, it's the best haunt value you can get. It has the most bang for your buck. We know that this year we're going to get 2 new mazes because Shadowlands and Infected are going away. The spot that Infected was at, it's famously a spot for longer mazes. Terror of London was pretty long. Forevermore was pretty long. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do with that footprint. And then over at Shadowlands, that warehouse or that space that houses the maze is always pretty big too. That's housed some of my favorite mazes too. One of the ones that I remember the most is Black Magic, the Houdini maze. That one was pretty cool. So yeah, looking forward to see what's coming there. I wouldn't know where to begin to try and guess a theme they're going to have for those mazes. I'm excited to see if like a classic maze comes back, like for instance the Doll Factory. I would love to see them start bringing back older mazes because we are coming up on the 50th anniversary of Knott's Scary Farm. I'm also really curious to know if they're going to bring back, like, we haven't had a vampire maze for a while at Knott's Scary Farm. I know vampires were a big staple of Knott's Scary Farm for a long time. And overall, I'm just curious who's designing each new maze. Like, is one maze John Cook, or is the other maze Daniel Miller? Which, by the way, has anybody checked on Daniel Miller, man? Because that Waxworks was a trip of a maze. But shout out to you, Daniel Miller. Great job with Waxworks. I'm also curious to know if they're going to give any major updates to any of the current lineup that's at Scary Farm right now. For instance, Pumpkin Eater has been there for a while now. They could totally do something in the middle, kind of flesh out the story a little more, right? So the Hay Maze portion of Pumpkin Eater, that could be revamped to something else. Shout out to Anthony from the Nights of Horror for this amazing idea. He said, why not put the infected laser guns into dark entities? That's a genius idea. I think that would be freaking awesome. Dark entities, I have my reservations about that maze. I think the story kind of falls apart, but the setting is perfect for something that is like laser rifles, space themed. I mean, come on, that's the perfect marriage to the two. So shout out to you, Anthony. That's a great idea, dude. And you know, I kind of got to be honest with you. I'm getting worried about Paranormal Inc. I'm getting very worried about Paranormal Inc. It's coming up on its 5th year of operation. 2015, it changed the game of mazes at Knott's. Trick or Treat left us after year 6. That's a pretty long legacy. Paranormal Inc. is coming up on it, though. So I'm getting kind of worried that it may be in its final years. I would love to have Paranormal Inc. get the Trick or Treat lights out treatment with the flashlights. I think going through Hayden Hill with some flashlights would be terrifying. And they could totally change the beginning and maybe even the final portion of the maze to kind of make it a little more confusing in there, a little more tight quarters. And also, I'm kind of curious what's going to go out on the Calico Mine stage. We may get a new show, folks. The Hanging, I think, is done. I don't think anybody's officially come out and said, hey, The Hanging is done. But I think we can gather the clues and see that, yes, last year was The Hanging's final year, which means that stage is wide open for something else. I honestly hope that they keep the tradition of it being a stunt show, but I also really wouldn't mind a show kind of like the Academy of Villains show from last year at Horror Nights Orlando. That show, guys, was incredible. The stage was so full of life. It had this Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of theme. I would love to see a show like that come to the Calico Mine stage, where it's kind of a fun, action-packed, high energy, good music kind of deal. And funny enough, the Academy of Villains actually performed in the park for a couple of years with Elvira, so that's a fun little fact. And also, we may see the return of Puppet Up. I really hope they come back. That was an incredibly hilarious show. So clever. I remember when it got announced last year, and everyone was like, oh, what the hell? Like, what is this? What's this going to be about? I get the general feeling that a lot of people were apprehensive about it, but all it took was one viewing of the show to be hooked. So I hope it comes back. I hope it comes back, and in fact, I hope it becomes a staple of Knott's Scary Farm, because it really is a truly incredible show. Up next, I want to talk about Halloween Horror Nights. This year, if the HN Nightmares speculation map is correct, it's going to be rather unique. And honestly, I kind of really like the lineup because it's refreshing. It's very different. This year, we're missing all of the classic titans of terror, if you will. There's no Leatherface, there's no Freddy, there's no Jason, there's no Michael Myers. I feel like Michael Myers has been hanging out for years now at Horror Nights. According to HN Nightmares, we may be going from 10 mazes total to 9 mazes this year. And yes, that's counting The Walking Dead. I hope that's not true, but we'll have to wait and see. I think overall, I really don't miss the Terror Tram, so I look forward to that not coming back. Honestly, like, the Terror Tram was a really cool concept, but I feel like every year it was just recycled from the previous year for the most part, with just a couple of changes to the decor. I was over the Terror Tram for a couple of years now. In fact, there was a few years there where I outright skipped it. I know, I'm sorry. And plus, the scare factor was never there. It was just 15 minutes of walking through dirt and getting fake weapons swung at you, and that's just not my kind of deal. I do think we're going to get a Gremlins maze. We're definitely getting a Universal Monsters maze. And maybe Beetlejuice. Those are the 3 that I'm like pretty certain are actually going to happen this year. If they do happen, if the speculation map is correct, I'm actually really excited about it. So we'll see. Next, I want to talk about Disneyland. I want to talk about that Oogie Boogie Bash. For the first time in a long time, I actually feel like I missed out on Disney's Halloween event. The couple of years that I went to the Not So Scary Halloween party, it became very evident to me that event was for children and their parents, and not for me. So, however, the Oogie Boogie Bash actually looks like a lot of fun. They've got some really cool things going on, and the Villains Hollow, lots of cool lighting effects in there. They've got some real cool projection mapping going on Carthay Circle, so I definitely felt that I missed out, and I want to make sure and make a point to go out to Oogie Boogie Bash this year. If I'm able to secure tickets, that is, because I do know that they go fast, so we'll see if I get in. Next, I want to talk about Queen Mary Dark Harbor. This event has really been surprising me year after year. They're doing a lot of things to the mazes to improve them. They're changing lighting. They're changing scenery. So I look forward to seeing more of that this year. Last year, Lullaby had some really neat tricks. I loved the effect of going through the pool. That was really cool. They did a lot of cool things with smoke screens and projections. So I wanted to see more of that. I love that. I love that they're trying new things. However, I do got to say, to me, last year, the mazes felt a little shorter. Oh, and also, for the love of God, please fix Circus. Please redo that maze. I saw what you were trying to do last year. It didn't work. It was just a conga line the entire night with foam and ball pit balls everywhere. Let's not do that again this year. I think out of all the mazes, Circus definitely needs the biggest redesign. So I hope they look into that and don't do any of those ball pit tricks anymore, because that was a bummer, man. That was a real bummer. Next on the list is LA Haunted Hayride. Let me tell you, last year was such a huge leaps and bounds improvement from all the previous years that Hayride has been a thing. Honestly, the whole Midnight Falls storyline was fantastic. I love how fleshed out the story was. I love how it really changed the ambient of the event. It made everything feel connected, which was really, really awesome. The roaming characters were phenomenal, hilarious. Monty Revolta on the stage, great act. Please bring him back every year. And then the Hayride itself was a lot of fun too. I am hoping that this year, I'm looking forward to them improving the mazes a little bit. Midnight Mortuary was really cool. Trick or Treat was a lot of fun. Roadkill Ranch, however, Roadkill Ranch could have used some work. More than anything, it just lacked good scare opportunities. It was very open. You can pretty much see where everybody was. It was filled with fog. It was dusty. That one, oh man. if you got allergies, LA Haunted Hayride's going to test them for sure. Even if you have a little bit of allergies. I walked back into that area, just instant, boom, congestion, everything. It was horrible. So anyways, Roadkill Ranch, hopefully revisit that one. And I'm also really hoping to see more facades, right, in the town square. I'd love to see things like the diner, right, like or a post office, right, very small town Americana kind of things. And they would make great photo ops. It'd be a great opportunity for some social media action. But overall, LA Haunted Hayride, again, leaps and bounds, better than it's ever been. And I look forward to going through it again. So next on the list is Warner Brothers Horror Made Here. I actually had a blast going to this event in 2018. Did it need a little design work? Sure. Was it a little overpriced? Yeah. But it was still a lot of fun. And I honestly think that in a few years, with just a couple of improvements or under the right direction, Horror Made Here can really be a big competition to all the SoCal haunts. Last year, they had The Exorcist, the Forbidden Screening, where they kind of did a supercut of the movie in an actual church, a church set that had pews, it had a lectern, it had candles, it had crosses on the wall, everything. They had live performers in the room, and they had projection effects and practical effects going off all around you, like air cannons and vibration and rattling walls and crosses turning upside down. It was dope. I also really loved the Camp Crystal Lake and Freddy Krueger mashup. I think that was freaking awesome. To see Jason in the flesh coming out of a freaking lake, walking towards you from the end of a pier. Wow. That is an image that's going to stick with me forever. It was great. And like the moon was out. It was lit perfectly. It was just beautiful. So yeah, I really hope that Horror Made Here comes back because again, it could stand up to the test of the other SoCal haunts with just a few improvements. And last on the list is Six Flags Magic Mountain. Now, it had been years since I had gone back to Six Flags Magic Mountain. I think the last time that I went there, I was probably like in 9th, 10th grade. I went back in 2018. And I was actually pretty pleasantly surprised. The mazes, for the most part, were all pretty good. Like, the design was actually really surprising. Some of them were still kind of hokey and kind of classic, but overall, I had a blast at the event. But then I watched videos from previous years, and I kind of realized that Six Flags Magic Mountain doesn't really change their mazes very much year to year, which is kind of a bummer. So what I'm looking forward to is hopefully this year in 2020, Six Flags Fright Fest gives us like a brand new, like new, like you've never used it before, new kind of maze. And also I'm looking forward to the day where Six Flags Fright Fest offers a Fright Fest only ticket option, because last year, 2018, when I went, I had to buy the season pass and then the Fright Fest upgrade because that was the cheapest way to get into the park for the evening. Which is not fun, guys. Come on. Give me a Fright Fest ticket. I'll pay for it. Just do it. And well, there you have it. That's everything we have to look forward to for Haunt 2020 so far. Hopefully here soon we'll start hearing announcements from all the parks. We'll start getting hints at what's to come. I'm really looking forward to see if that HN Nightmares map is correct or not. And I'm looking forward in general to seeing all the improvements all the haunts will make this season, because they've honestly been on a hot streak of improvements every year, and that's freaking awesome. Well, if you enjoyed our episode, be sure and subscribe and comment down below what you're looking forward to for Haunt 2020. Be sure to follow us on social media. I tend to post news stories there. I tend to post random ramblings. You can visit us on the web for links to our podcast, for links to our social media, for links to everything. And then be sure to download our podcast. I'm going to have new episodes coming up soon. I'm finally going to finish season 1. I finally have the time for it. I'm going to finish season 1, and then we've got some fun stuff in store for season 2. So tune into that anywhere you download your podcasts. And until next time, thank you for calling the Haunt Line.